Hey, let's get right back into the end of chapter 3 here, which is going to lead us into pretty much a domino effect of tragedy that happens throughout the rest of this book, not to foreshadow too much there. Middle of page 46 is where we left off. The blue Mustang just roomed off. We walked on home mostly in silence. I wanted to ask Johnny if those were the same socialists that had beaten him up, but I didn't mention it. Johnny never talked about it, and we never said anything. Well, those two were two good-looking girls if I ever saw any, Chubit yawned as we sat in the curb of the vacant lot. He took a piece of paper out of his pocket and tore it up. What was that? Marsh's number. Probably a phony one, too. I must have been out of my mind to ask for it. I think I'm a little sauced. So he had been drinking. Two-Bit was smart. He knew the score. Y'all going home, he asked. Not right now, I said. I wanted to have another smoke and watch the stars. Had to be in by 12, but I thought I still had plenty of time. I don't know why I handed you that busted bottle, Two-Bit said, getting to his feet. You'd never used it. Well, maybe I would have, I said. Where are you headed? Oh, I'm going to go play a little snooker and maybe hunt up a poker game. Maybe get rip-on drunk. I don't know. See you all tomorrow. Johnny and I stretched out on our backs and looked at the stars. I was freezing. It was a cold night and all I had on was that sweatshirt, but I could watch the stars in sub-zero weather. I saw Johnny's cigarette dick glowing in the dark and wondered vaguely what was it like inside a burning ember. It's because we're greasers, Johnny said, and I knew he was talking about Jerry. We could have hurt her reputation. Yeah, I reckon, I said, wondering if I should tell Johnny what she had said about Dallas. Man, that was a tough car. Most things are tough. Big time so, she's all right, I said, a nervous bitterness growing inside me. It wasn't fair for the socialists to have everything. We were as good as they were. It wasn't our fault we were greasers. But I just couldn't take it or leave it like Two-Bit, or ignore it and love life anyway like Soda Pop, or hard myself beyond caring like Darry, or actually enjoy it like Tim Shepard. I felt the tension growing inside of me, and I knew something had to happen or I'd explode. I can't take much more, Johnny spoke my own feelings. I'll kill myself or something. Don't, I said, sitting up in the alarm. You can't kill yourself, Johnny. Well, I won't, but I gotta do something. Seems like there's gotta be someplace out there without greasers or socias, with just people. Plain, ordinary people. Out of the big towns, I said, lying back down. In the country. In the country. I love the country. I want to be out of the towns and away from the excitement. I only want to lie my back under a tree and look at a book or draw a picture and not worry about being jumped or carrying a blade or ending up being married to some scatterbrained broad with no sense. Country would be like that, I thought dreamily. I'd have a yellow-curd dog like I used to. Soda Pop would get Mickey Mouse back and ride in all the rodeos he wanted to. And Darry would lose that cold, hard look and be like he used to be 8 months ago, before Mom and Dad were killed. Since I was dreaming, I brought Mom and Dad back to life. Mom could bake some of those chocolate cakes, and Dad would drive up in the pickup out early to feed the cattle. He'd slap Darry on the back and tell him he was getting to be a man, regular chip off the block, and they'd be as close as they used to be. Maybe Johnny could come live with us, and the gang could come out on the weekends. Maybe Dallas would come out there and see there was some good in the world after all. And Mom would talk to him and make him grin in spite of himself. You got quite a mom, Darry used to say. She knows the score. She could talk to Dallas and kept him from getting into a lot of trouble. My mother was golden and beautiful. Pony boy! Johnny was shaking me. Hey, Pony, wake up! I sat up shivering. The stars had moved. Glory, what time is it? I don't know. I went to sleep too, listening to you rattle on and on. You better get home. I think I'll stay all night out here. Johnny's parents didn't care if he came home or not. Okay, I yawned. Gosh, but it was cold. If you get cold or something, come on over to our house. Okay. I ran home, trembling at the thought of facing Darry. The porch light was on. Maybe they were asleep and I could sneak in, I thought. I peeked in the window. Soda Pop was stretched out on the sofa, sound asleep. But Darry was in the armchair under the lamp reading the newspaper. I gulped, opened the door softly. Darry looked up from the paper. He was on his feet in a second. I've been stood there chewing on my fingernail. Where the heck have you been? You know what time it is? He was madder than I'd seen him in a long time. I shook my head wordlessly. Well, it's 2 in the morning, kiddo. Another hour, I would have had the police out after you. Where were you, pony boy? His voice was rising. Where in the almighty universe were you? It sounded dumb even to me when I stammered. I went to sleep in the light. You what? He was shouting. Soda Pop sat up and rubbed his eyes. Hey, pony boy, he said sleepily. Where you been? I didn't mean to, I pleaded with Darry. I was talking to Johnny before we both dropped off. And I reckon it never occurred to you that your brothers might be wearing their heads off and afraid to call the police because it's something like that can get you thrown in the boy's head so quick it'd make your head spin. And you were asleep in the night. Pony boy, what on earth's the matter with you? Can't you use your head? You haven't even got a coat on. I felt tears of hot anger and frustration rising. I said I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to, Darry shouted and I almost shook. I didn't think. I forgot. That's all I ever hear out of you. Can't you think of anything? Darry, Soda Pop began, but Darry turned on him. You keep your trap shut. I'm sick and tired of hearing you stick up for him. He should never yell at Soda. Nobody should ever yell or holler at my brother. I exploded. You don't yell at him, I shouted. Darry wheeled around and slapped me so hard it knocked me against the door. Suddenly, it was deathly quiet. We all had frozen. Nobody in my family had ever hit me. Nobody. Soda was wide-eyed. Darry looked at the palm of his hand where it turned red, and then looked at me. His eyes were huge. Pony boy! I turned and ran out the door and down the street fast as I could. Darry screamed, Pony, I didn't mean to! But I was out by the light by then and pretended I couldn't hear. I was running away. It was plain to me that Darry didn't want me around. And I wouldn't stay if he did. He wasn't ever going to hit me again. Johnny! I called. When I started, he rolled over and jumped up almost under my feet. Come on, Johnny, we're running away. Johnny asked no questions. We ran for several blocks until we were out of breath. Then we walked. I was crying by then. I finally just sat down on the curb and cried, burying my face in my arms. Johnny sat down beside me, one hand on my shoulder. Easy, pony boy, he said softly. We'll be okay. I finally calmed down and wiped my eyes on my bare arm. My breath was covered in quivering sobs. Got a cigarette? He handed me one and struck a match. Johnny, I'm scared. Well, don't be. You're scaring me. What happened? I never saw you bawl like that. Well, I don't very often. It was Darry. He hit me. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't take him hollering at me all the time and hit me too. I don't know. Sometimes we get along okay, but all of a sudden he blows up on me or else is nagging me all the time. He didn't used to be like that. We used to get along okay before Mom and Dad died. Now he just can't stand me. Well, I think I like it better when the old man's hitting me, Johnny sighed. Well, he said he knows who I am. I walk in that house, nobody says anything. I walk out, nobody says anything. I stay away all night, nobody notices. At least you got Soda. I ain't got nobody. Oh, shoot, I said, startled out of my misery. You got the whole gang. Dolly didn't slow you tonight because you're the pet. I mean, golly, Johnny, you got the whole gang. Ain't the same as having your own folks care about you, Johnny said simply. Just ain't the same. I was beginning to relax and wonder if running away was such a great idea. I was sleepy and freezing to death, and I wanted to be home safe in bed, safe and warm under the covers with Soda's arm across me. I decided I would go home and just not speak to Darry. It was my house as much as Darry's, and if he wanted to pretend I wasn't alive, that was just fine by me. He couldn't stop me from living in my own house. Let's walk to the park and back. Then maybe I'll be cool off enough to go home. Okay, Johnny said easily. Okay. Things gotta get better, I figured. They couldn't get any worse. I was wrong. Oh no, that did not just happen. He's wrong? What could possibly go worse for Ponyboy, getting slapped by Darry, running away, realizing you better go back home. Tune in. Next chapter, chapter 4, is a game changer. And if you're not reading this early right now, maybe keep it quiet to not disturb the rest of the class and give them a little clue about what's up there, then you are insane. You're crazy. I'm hoping you guys read ahead into chapter 4, but keep it quiet. Let me just give you a little hint here. Something's going to happen. Something awful is going to happen. I am signing off of Chapter 3, moving into Chapter 4 very shortly. Thank you so much for listening on YouTube.